In 1970, most of the world, their paper money was actually backed by gold bullion. So there was a one-to-one backing between gold. In 1970, Richard Nixon removed that backing and said we can print money and we can print as much as we need. And the cost of that printing is a thing called inflation. So as you print more supply, the value of all the individual monies in circulation today goes down.
Researcher who's mostly been looking at AI policy lately. And as a cognitive neuroscientist, I look at what's there and I say there's still a long way to go before the most scary scenarios where you put on, let's say, a VR device that has sensors and it could read your thoughts. Like, I really don't want to do that. I'm not too worried about that happening in the short term. I think we might find video games where you can kind of move a character left or right. That's not the same as really reading your thoughts. We might see that relatively soon. As a neuroscientist, I think getting to the point where you put something on your head and it can read your thoughts in a fully general way without your cooperation is still going to take some time. We still don't really understand how the brain works. We're still in early days of neuroscience. We're collecting data. We're collecting much higher resolution data than we did before, but we still have limited understanding of how all that data works. You have 86 billion neurons in your brain, and we have no idea exactly what they're all doing. As an AI researcher, though, I'm very sympathetic to the arguments that my co-panelists have made. You can see with AI that we're very late to the game. All of a sudden we have ChatGPT. It has all kinds of implications, and we don't really have any laws that are specific to AI yet. We have a bunch of initiatives that are close, and then different governments are doing different kinds of things. The UN is trying to do things, but we're clearly playing catch up. And I think we should use this opportunity right now to think of some of the same questions that arise in general in AI have implications here. So around privacy, for example, and the aggregation of data, as we're constructing our laws and norms and so forth around AI, we should be thinking about these issues in neurotechnology. And I'll just throw out one worry beyond the excellent list that Nita already made, which is there's a whole set of things around hacking and bad actors. So, for example, if you have some headset and it communicates over Bluetooth is just not that secure. And so right now, probably it can't read too much, but it can probably read your emotional state to some degree. Someday it might be able to read your thoughts. You don't want people to be able to hack into that. And then there's another version, which I think is very far away, but we should still be thinking about, which is most of these things are kind of read and not write, but there are technologies like TMS that do try to write signals to the brain, and I'm sure people are going to try to do that for various reasons. Imagine those systems being hacked. So we really want to think this through. We want to get a jump on it. I think that's Nita's fundamental point. I completely agree with it. No matter how long the timescales are on some of the specifics, we need to get on it.
Actually accelerated much faster the field of AI than even the expert researchers had anticipated. Some say anywhere moving it up from 10 to 15 years sooner, the things that are happening today than they otherwise expected. What's your thought also on this timeline, and do you think it's as far out as Scary does, or do you think there's also potential that it could come more quickly?
I think it's coming much more quickly thanks to advances in generative AI. So the papers that have come out just over the past year applied to much more complex imaging. So using things like functional magnetic resonance imaging, where people go into a scanner cooperatively, intentionally having their brain activity scanned while they listen to podcasts or they see images, are being, in many instances, very reliably recreated thanks to generative AI. Now, that doesn't apply to EEG and small sensors. There's still a gap between that kind of technology and wearable sensors. But what it shows, and what a lot of the companies are now talking about, is the capacity of using generative AI to have a classifier on device for individuals. So as they launch a product on the marketplace that allows you to do really basic things, track your stress levels throughout the day, which is a powerful insight that people can gain about their own brain health and wellness, it will learn the individual and co-evolve over time so that each device will have a personal classifier for an individual that generative AI enables that can learn brain signals over time and be able to, essentially say, when you are thinking this or you want to type this or you're experiencing this, this is what the brain activity looks like. That coevolution is happening so much more quickly that it allows companies to ship products with very basic functionality that then also allows this coevolution. The good thing is those classifiers don't seem to apply across people. So some of these studies have shown that when a classifier is trained for a particular person and then you try to apply it to somebody else's brain signals, it doesn't translate across. And so if we put into place now measures that really secure the privacy of the classifier as well as the data that's being aggregated, this could be potentially transformative technology for brain health and wellness and more seamless interaction with other technology, but only if we put into place the design measures as well as really updating our interpretation of existing human rights around freedom of thought and privacy and self-determination to align with the rights of individuals around that data.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And we have Jack Dorsey speaking about Nixon and taking us off the gold standard. But what he left out was Henry Kissinger making a deal with the Saudis to bring on the petrodollar, so then they could start printing unlimited amounts of money. And the central banks could buy up the globe. Now the central banks create Bitcoin, so then therefore they can run CBDCs right behind it and stable coins and stay in control of the current system. It was a wonderful plan. Remember, guys, it's all planned out. And CBDCs and stable coins are biblical. They'll be able to tell you what, when, and how to buy, and you have 3 to 6 months to spend them or poof, it's gone. And blockchain gives the NWO the all-seeing eye, where they'll know you better than you know yourself with all this data. And speaking of data, with all this technology, they can read your mind. And if they can take all this data and know what you're thinking, they're going to be able to send you products, sell you products, send you a signal to your brain to buy that product. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, only thing you have to do is go to social media. Majority of people talk alike, wearing the same clothes, the same hairdos, fake body parts. And we know brain waves are not just inside of your brain. And we have the technology to pick those signals up. And remember, guys, this technology can be used for good or evil. And if somebody's looking at doing something criminal, this is wonderful technology. But if you're reading the mind to control me, that's a whole nother different thing. And remember I told you, social media, television, they already control the thoughts of the sheep. But just imagine if they know the thoughts of the sheep. And then on top of it, they're sitting at home getting free money. That money will go right back in the hands of the people that gave it to them, like it already is. I know it sounds like a movie, but remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows, when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Vision Pro, maybe not. I'm not sure Apple would do this, but we'll see other vendors do this. And Apple's strong on privacy, but others will be less strong on privacy, and they will use this to train classifiers and so forth. I might be slightly. My predictions on how fast people can make something of that might be slightly slower than it is, but the general point is absolutely true. They're going to be Trojan horses. You know, you should think about Facebook, right? You know, you thought you were talking to your friends, and really what they've been doing is accumulating this very detailed data and working with other vendors, which will happen here too, to get as detailed a representation of you as possible to sell you personalized ads and so forth. We're going to see the same thing here, where these are Trojan horses. And then the other thing that I think makes policy complicated is that the pace of development here is really not predictable. That 2017 paper that you mentioned didn't even win a Best Paper award at NeurosCience that year. People thought, okay, this is one more paper in this genre, and turned out to have pretty profound implications. I still think we're a long way from artificial general intelligence, but there are a lot of practical things we can do with this technology. We don't really understand the pace, so we can go over, we can have a drink and argue about it a little bit, but none of us really know how fast this is moving. It's certainly going to move reasonably fast, and it's certainly this kind of technology is going to be used as a Trojan horse, and we need to think of
going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.